lines.
Okay, so
You know, when I try and think of what has inspired me to do the things that I'm doing now, the bizarre thing is I grew up in a leafy, quiet suburb, and yet the moment I first stepped into New York as a college freshman, I was somewhere else, but I was visiting, I knew I wanted to be part of the energy of the city, and I knew that that's where I had to be. So I don't really know where that inspiration came from. Except it was just like the visceral experience of being in the middle of a place that had a hell of a lot more diversity and a hell of a lot more energy than the place I grew up in, which was very pretty. But it's the energy of the unexpected. It's the energy of and the friction that comes from rubbing up against something or someone or some place that is different, and the alchemy, what I call the alchemy of urban life, where these different things get mixed together and something new is created from that. Well, I think the transformation of Times Square is about the kind of transformation we see all the time in cities. Cities are they're organic. They're never the same, they're always changing. A transformation can be either bad or good. The ones that are good are the ones that tap into the authentic characteristics of a place, the assets of a place. And in the case of Times Square, in the case of New York City, that's about tapping into creative energy, about tapping into the diversity of the city, and about nurturing and knowing one's own history. Well, I think one of the key things is you have to have a timeline that's more than just next week. And if you give time, then eventually there is a very real return in terms of an increase in real estate values, an increase in the value of a building. But it's also these intangibles that have to do with shifts in perception and the creation of new ideas, especially when dealing with creative people, the idea capital of creating new ideas and new innovations, because you have a place where a bunch of creative people can intersect and interact. In order to move forward, you have to know where you've come from, and you have to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and maybe what happens when you know your history is you get a sense of, and you're reminded of these assets that people may have forgotten about. And especially in Times Square, Times Square has always been a place for music in all these different forms, music and entertainment. And sometimes with all the lights and signs and all the changes, people forget that that's still at the core of what the place is about. And that's what you need to know if you're going to move forward. I think the music building can be part of this transformation and part of this creative community in and around Times Square. Both by just simply being there, by interacting with people beyond the music community and bringing that creativity out, into the street, into places that it might not be seen otherwise, and to nurture that creative spirit.